Hello, everyone. Welcome to my final web package as an index editor. I realized that I've spent so much time as an index editor. I think I have like 3 web packages that just revolve around making fun of horror movies that I don't like, that I should probably give you guys some horror movies that I do like. If you kind of like my opinion so far on the horror movie genre, I can kind of steer you in the right direction. Some of these are personal preference for sure, and I was a little biased for a lot of these, so a lot of these, like, pure content related, they're not the best, but just because of the memories I have, they're my favorite. I would like to apologize in advance to people who like kind of like the newer horror movies, because there are none on here, because I'm just not a fan of the direction at which horror is going, and I really like the classics. My third favorite horror movie of all time. This was a really tough decision because I had to kind of pick between a few of my favorites, but I ended up going with Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. Now, if you ask around people who are really familiar with the Friday the 13th franchise, they will typically say that this one or number 4 are their favorites. And this one has always been my favorite, my personal favorite. So Friday the 13th is the film series that got me into kind of retro horror, which is my favorite genre of movie, honestly. And there's just something so unique about, Jason and his giant spear, and there are, at times, it is cartoony, and it is obviously really cheesy because it's a Friday the 13th installment, but there's just something so endearing about it to me. I will forever love it. So for that, I felt like it would be an injustice to not include it on this list. My second favorite horror movie of all time is Evil Dead 2. So Evil Dead 1 is a very low-budget horror film, and it's often regarded as one of the best horror movies of all time, just because of how it revolutionized the genre. And I 100% agree with that. And if Evil Dead 2 wasn't on my list, Evil Dead 1 would be on my list. For those of you who don't know, Bruce Campbell plays the beloved Ashley J. Williams. Groovy. Kind of reinvented the whole horror comedy genre, and it's kind of the first film of its kind in that respect. But director Sam Raimi kind of comes into his own in Evil Dead 2, and him and Bruce Campbell kind of experiment with this whole comedy trope, and we get this really grotesque and like cynical comedic movie that I just love so much. It makes me so happy to watch. I can't imagine not having it on this list, or an Evil Dead movie on this list, just because of how impactful it's been on the genre and how much I love Ash Williams. So number 1, if you know me, this is definitely not a surprise because I talk about this movie all the time, and that's got to be Scream. Starring Drew Barrymore for a brief period. Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox. It's a fantastic movie. Matthew Lillard, who you might know as Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. It's got an amazing cast, and I think literally there's no way that they could have casted this film better. It's entertaining from beginning to end. It's one of the first kind of meta flicks that ever came out that kind of commented on the fact that it was a horror movie. Plus, I mean, you can't have a top 3 horror movies of all time list without including a Wes Craven work, and Scream is hands down my favorite Wes Craven work. Every single act of it is wildly entertaining, and I find myself rewatching this movie whenever I'm bored and I'm just sitting and I was like, oh, I need to watch a movie. I'll watch Scream again, because it's really every time it's just as entertaining as the last, and it's an irreplaceable installment in horror history. It belongs on this list, and for me, it's number 1. So thank you guys for watching. Obviously, these movies are cheesy because they came out before certain technologies were available, and a lot of them came out with lower budgets. They're all endearing in their own way, and I'm not picking like the top 3 scariest movies of all time, because I don't think that defines a good horror movie. I'm saying these are the top 3 movies that are entertaining from beginning to end, leave you engaged, and will leave you a fan of retro horror 100%, just like I am. Check out these horror movies. I respect these films so much, even though some of them maybe aren't respected by the horror community. But yeah. So that's going to do it for my last web package ever for the Oshkosh West Index, which is pretty surreal. But for the last time, thank you guys for watching. And I won't be seeing you guys again. Very sorry.